Hi guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today we're talking about what motivates you to actually make money. Maybe let me put it the other way around. What motivates you to grow your money? How do you grow your money? Do you grow your money by seeing it actually grow, or do you grow your money by believing financial principles or concepts? Now, before I get into this video, remember that none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. Remember, in one of my videos, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 videos, I also write about this in the book, What's Your Move? I speak about 3 reasons why certain people would invest, or 3 outcomes that are potentially going to happen if you are investing your money. The first thing I spoke about is preservation. So it's whether you are actually investing or whether you're saving, right? Because sometimes we save for preservation. So when you look at the apple analogy that I always use, and I say, if you have 8 apples, 8 you can use, 1 goes into the deep freezer for preservation for the days you are going to need money and you might not have access to liquid cash, and then 1 goes underground for actual growth. So if you take that example, there are 3 potential outcomes that could potentially come out of you following this analogy. 1 is the preservation of value. The second one is actual appreciation of assets or appreciation of portfolio. So the assets that you have in your investment portfolio could potentially become more than what you have paid to be able to acquire them, right? And the third one we spoke about was having that appreciation or that growth in terms of your portfolio value, but also at the same time being able to generate an income, right? So we spoke about those 3 things. And today specifically, I want to speak about those people like myself who believe in income generating investing. So basically what it means when you are an income generating investor is when you invest in certain assets that are going to generate an income today. So funny enough, I write about this in the book, and I speak about a financial lesson coming from lobola negotiations, right? So if you've read my book, you kind of know the story of how I was part and parcel of my sister's negotiation delegation, if I may call it that. And I was just taking the notes. So let me tell you, I had no power whatsoever. However, I was the one who was taking the notes and doing record keeping. And one of the things that I learned from that specific process was the fact that inkomo azihambi zodwa or something like that. So homo aitama iliwani. So if you're going to be paying lobola, you've got to pay it in even numbers, because you're bringing 2 people together from different families to become one. So why would you have 7 cows? You need to have 8 cows, because each cow needs to walk with its cow. And I was like, oh my goodness, this actually makes sense to me, because for me, when I invest, I want my investment to grow in appreciation, but there must be a side that actually balances out. And the other side ultimately is being able to generate an income out of it. Funny also today, this morning, I was having a conversation with somebody, and we're talking about how do you actually convince somebody who's business orientated to be able to invest? Because if we look at the principles of investing, we're looking at time. You've got to have time in the market, right? So you've got to give your investments time. So when we look at the analogy of the apple and putting the apple underground, we're talking about giving it time so that you can have an apple orchard, right? Orchard. What is it? I don't know how to pronounce it. An apple farm. I mean, really, it's a hoa. It's a bora, Joe. It will always catch you out while you're there, flowing, and then bam, there's a word you can't pronounce. Anyway, so if you want to be able to grow your apple farms and have more than 1 apple tree, you've got to give it time. It's the same as pregnancy. You don't fall pregnant today or tested today and tomorrow you want to give birth. You've got to give the fetus to become a baby the whole full 9 months so that it becomes an actual baby. So it teaches you patience, and investing is one of those processes that actually teaches you patience. Now, I know myself, I am one of the most impatient people in the world. So what I do to be able to mitigate that risk factor about me and my personality and my investor profile is I get involved in what is called income generating investing. And income generating investing, a lot of young people in South Africa, especially people that run businesses who are business orientated, they believe in this. And it's important for us to be able to demonstrate that there are certain assets that you can buy that are going to generate an income immediately, right? So as I was saying, I was having a conversation with this gentleman this morning, and he was saying that, for instance, if you're running a business and it's a stock type of business, you could literally go and spend a certain amount of money today on stock, and literally tomorrow you would have doubled your money and you would have 50% profit from what you've already spent. Or you could even double it 100%. Ooh, English, wow. Yeah, you could literally have 100% profit. So it made me think, here we are telling people, no, put your money into shares, no, put your money into this, and it's going to take years for people to actually see what it's doing. Mind you, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because diversification is very important. So even if you are going to be putting money away into income generating assets, you also still have to diversify with those assets that are not going to immediately give you money, right? But if you have a personality like mine and you know who you are, it is important for you to ensure that while you are diversifying, while you're putting your money into different baskets, one of those baskets is going to be able to fulfill that need that you have to be able to see your money work for you. So what are some of the different income generating assets? So my income generating, I'm going to use myself as an example. So for instance, right now, one of my biggest income generating assets is my property. But let me put the disclaimer. I was very lucky to be able to buy property cash. So in buying property cash, it then allowed me to be able to retain a majority of the rental income that I get from it. So my property currently right now may be growing in value, but it's also giving me a rental income every single month. So that becomes a good income generating asset. Now the reality is, in an economy like South Africa, not everybody's going to be able to buy property cash. So what are the other assets that you could potentially invest in that could give you that income that you need every single month? So we have to be looking at things like businesses. We've got to look at things like so currently I run a business, and in my business, basically, what do we do in our business? We're actually a service type of business. So we would create content, financial literacy content. But that also, so the asset currently is the people that I hire, right? So the people that I hire are part of my business, and they are the input that I am putting in, right? So I have to pay them a salary. I've got to get them educated. I've got to get them to a point where they can write proficiently. I've got to get them to a point where they understand financial literacy. So I'm continuously trying to upskill them so that they can push out the best service for client. So it is again an income generating business, because we're putting in the money to ensure that the resources that we've got are great resources and can push out what a client is willing to pay for. So that's one thing. Park that one, right? Then I have what is called IP, which is intellectual property, or creating a commodity. So what I've done is I have created a commodity like my book, right? So I've written a book, I've written a kids book, I've written a young adults book on financial literacy. So basically, if I am sleeping, somebody on Take a Lot is still buying my book. So essentially, I've invested, because remember, I had to sit down, time, money, resources to be able to put that book together. So it's not just my knowledge, it's not just my expertise. It's a designer who designed the cover of the book. It's the editor who edited the book. It's the typesetter who put the book together. It's the guys who printed. So that's all monies that had to be invested into the book to create a product that will still sell when I am unable to sell. So again, I've taken my money and I've invested into the book to ensure that when I am sleeping, this book is still becoming an income generating asset for me. The other thing I've had to invest in is myself, so I can get a little bit more educated. Guys, I didn't need to do my MBA. Let me tell you, mina isikolo ngezonda. But I had to go and do my postgraduate diploma, and I had to go and do my MBA simply so that I can become more educated and more proficient. Guys, I also, by the way, a lot of people don't know this. I take quite a lot of speech therapy lessons so I can speak better, so I can sound better. I'm even I'm going to a therapist so that I can actually be more empathetic with people, because when you deal with financial education, when you're dealing with something that is so close to people's hearts, especially something that is emotional, like finance, it means that you need to be more empathetic, you need to be more aware, it means that you need to understand human nature outside of your own privilege. So I've had to do that to become a little bit more self-aware, so that when I do put out financial education, I'm relatable to the majority of people, because if I'm relatable to the majority of people, I appeal to a lot of people and brands want to use me. So again, I'm investing in Nicolette as an asset, because I know Nicolette is an income generating asset. When brands see appeal in me, they will pay me to do what it is that they want to do, whether it's speaking engagements, whether it's social media, whether it's whatever. Again, for me to have this YouTube channel, I've had to invest in it. So I've had to buy some of the top tier camera equipment. I know my sound sometimes is off, but guys, I actually have mics. which is weird. The problem is that I want to record when it's not planned, and that's why sometimes my sound sounds really silly. It's because Kibato shooter in the middle of nowhere. That's me. So that's why sometimes my sound. But I've got the base lighting. I have green screen. Everything, guys. I promise you. I even have a studio that is set up for me to shoot. So I'm investing again in this craft that I'm doing in my YouTube channel. Every month, my YouTube channel pays me simply because I believe in investing in income generating assets. And the beauty of it is you need to be able to identify things as assets. That's why a lot of people will say a car is not an asset, a cell phone is not an asset. And I will argue that because I'm like, it's the way you are using your car. It's the way you are using your cell phone. My cell phone is a huge asset. I can do social media posts. I get paid for those social media posts. I can build my following so that I can get booked for influencer gigs. So again, it's about how do you see the asset. But I think it's important that when we talk about investing, we don't talk traditionally about the things that a lot of people invest in, which is bonds, your shares, your property, and all those things, because some of them, because they don't give the immediate results, people may often think that they are not good investments. So you need to know who you are. You need to understand your profile as a person so that you are able to know what type of diversification you need in your investments, what type of asset allocation you need, so that you are somebody that is still motivated to invest. For instance, there are people who like quick money. So instead of putting all their money into investments, some of their money is put away into things like trading so that they can see immediate results, because it motivates them to see those immediate results. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next video. It's been great being with you. Remember, none of what I say on any of my financial videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is registered and qualified to be able to give you financial advice. See you guys on the next one. Mwah, mwah.